Yo, what up? Eusebius here, back at it again with another video. Today we're going to be doing another Art of the Mentally Ill. Now, if you are new here, a little bit of information about me. I am what you would call psychotic. That doesn't necessarily mean that I'm dangerous, or it doesn't mean that I need to be locked up in a mental institution, although I have been in a mental hospital a couple times. But simply put, being psychotic means you're in a state of mind known as psychosis, and psychosis is a break from reality. It is not synonymous with violent. It is not synonymous with any sort of negative connotation that exists around psychosis. Simply put, I perceive things differently than other people, which means I hallucinate, whether that be voices or visual hallucinations known as visions. Doesn't matter which one it is. If it's there, I exist in a state of psychosis. Now, yes, I have a psychotic mental disorder, but I also have two anxiety disorders. And in this series, Art of the Mentally Ill, I go over art that I've made to try and portray the horrors of my living reality, my living hell. And I use this as a little platform to spread some education about what it's like to have these psychotic disorders and what it's like to have anxiety disorders, which a lot of people can relate to. So today's art is named They Who Smile. Now, if you've seen my video from yesterday, you know for a fact that I have taken a lot of inspiration off of sleep paralysis. Because when people describe what they see in sleep paralysis, it's vividly similar to what I experience while awake, while in my state of psychosis, while going throughout my daily life. I find that it's very interesting that we see similar things like gray figures, and even somebody in my first video of Art of the Mentally Ill commented that their sleep paralysis demon was known as Mr. Smiley as well, which is what this painting is made based on. So when it comes down to it, a lot of the time when people describe their sleep paralysis demons, I sort of get weary about that because I don't know if them telling me about their demons will somehow imprint in my mind and cause me to see something similar. I've definitely been hallucinating this person a lot when I had absolutely no idea what sleep paralysis was, but I do have a feeling that diving into a bunch of research and talking to a bunch of people who had sleep paralysis didn't exactly help. So this is a painting of the hallucination that I call Mr. Smiley. And Mr. Smiley is one of my most common hallucinations that I've been experiencing ever since I was a little child. At first, he was a voice in my head who sounded exactly like me, and then slowly it became a voice outside of my head. Now, what do I mean by inside and outside of my head? Well, inside voices are things like intrusive thoughts. Outside voices are voices that you hear outside of your head, as the name entails, and are hallucinations. So, at first, it was an intrusive thought. It was me not willingly, but ending up thinking something, whatever that may be. And then it slowly turned into something that I would perceive outside of myself. And then as time went on, it slowly turned into a visual vision. So I started hallucinating this gray, emaciated, horrible, sunken in eyes, yellowish teeth, blurry, inability to point out specific details like texturing the skin or hair or anything like that. The worst part about Mr. Smiley is when I go to sleep and I wake up to hearing him crying, and I look at him and he's just standing in the corner or standing over my bed or under my bed. It's just Rocky? But yeah, it's just something that I've learned to deal with, especially with the help of medication and therapy, which does help. Mr. Smiley is something that people on this channel have seen before. I really think that when it comes down to it, Mr. Smiley is probably the one hallucination that many people can relate to, because from what I hear about sleep paralysis, their sleep paralysis hallucinations are very similar to my non-sleep paralysis hallucinations. So that is the inspiration with I created this painting. It's a sort of mix of the two. I because when people talk about sleep paralysis, they always talk about how they see the figure approaching their bed, which Mr. Smiley never really approaches me. Whenever he gets a bit distracting, I like to run straight through him, which which looks very weird to the people around me. But while I was in the psych ward, my second stay in the psych ward, that is what I would do, and it helped me overcome that fear. I have a feeling that a lot of people are gonna be confused when they see this because it's blurry. Now I made it blurry for a reason. I wanted this to be similar to what one would experience during sleep paralysis, to make it a bit more understandable and digestible to people who are not psychotic. So I made it blurry. Just like when I wake up in the middle of the night to hearing Mr. Smiley crying, I look at him, I look at his smile, and I'm not able to completely focus on it. It's a bit fuzzy. When I talk to people who've had sleep paralysis, they at least from what I've been told, it's a lot less detailed than what people might have imagined. So yeah, I mean, it's a sort of weird combination of my personal subjective experience along with a bunch of other people who I've talked to about their sleep paralysis. And that is the inspiration behind this painting. So, hope you enjoyed this painting, They Who Smile. And I hope you enjoyed my little spiel talking to you. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Catch you later. A hui ho malama pono.